guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new to my channel, hi, nice to meet you, thanks for joining me, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my video uploads. This is like my first in a series of YouTube videos I'm gonna start filming called Ask Emily. So a few months back I did a Q&A here on my YouTube channel. It's just all about getting to know me because I realised I'd never done that sort of thing on my channel before, and a few of you guys have been watching me for up to 3 years now. So it's like a get to know me style, but everyone seemed to really like it, so I thought I would do more Q&A videos for you guys. And the next topic I'm going to tackle is dating and boys. And I thought it would be really appropriate because about April, May, June, 3.5 months ago, 4 months ago, I broke up with my boyfriend. So ever since then, I have been back on the dating scene. And it's just reminded me of so many things that happen when you go dating and you're meeting new people. It's also a bit different for me now because I'm a little bit older. I'm 30 this year. So yeah, I just thought I would open the floor up to you on Instagram and let you send me all your questions about dating and boys. And I'm gonna try my best to answer based on my knowledge and my own experiences. So this is sort of a disclaimer. I'm obviously not a trained psychologist. I'm also not a dating coach or professional, and I'm just basically answering your questions in a really like chatty conversational way based on my experience. So it's not gospel, but if it helps, then that's great. I got so many great questions from you guys. I also got a few really perverted ones, which I'm not gonna do. Perverts, mostly from men actually. And there was also quite a few sex questions, but that made me think I'll probably do a separate Q&A on sex in a few weeks time. So we'll keep those separate for now and we'll just concentrate on dating and guys. Okay, I'm gonna start off with this one. It's just a really simple question, and the question is, how many relationships have you had? So a personal one. I have had 1, 2, 4 serious relationships where we have established that we are boyfriend and girlfriend. I've had a few like long-term dating scenarios in between all of those where we've never committed to the idea of boyfriend-girlfriend. Maybe it was because of me, maybe it was because he didn't want to commit. But yeah, I've had 4 serious relationships. My first one was when I was 17 with a really nice guy who was in a band, and that's when I was like my slightly metal rocker phase. And that lasted about a year. And then I had my first love, was from Bristol, and that was just quite a tumultuous relationship. We were both very, very similar, and we were at each other's throats all the time. But he's actually married now, which is so crazy. Like, I saw the wedding pictures on Facebook and I was just like, such a weird feeling. Even though we're obviously not in love with each other anymore, it was really strange to see someone that I dated and was madly in love with at a time now married. Weird. And then there was my longest relationship ever, 6.5 years I was with him. I met him, I was at uni, and you know, loved him to death. We actually broke up over a year ago now, and it was because we just kind of, for me anyway, it just kind of grew apart. Like, my life wasn't the same as when I met him when I was at uni. Like, I've got a new career and I was really busy, and you know, he lived in Surrey and I was in London having this life, and we didn't really feel like we were on the same page anymore. So we broke up a year ago, and then I had my latest relationship, which was, I mean, I was seeing him for 9 months, but we were only official as a couple 5 months. For some reason, I kept putting it off. Like, he kept asking me to go out with him and be his official girlfriend. And I don't know, for some reason, I think women are really intuitive like this, but like, I just kept putting it off for some reason. Anyway, if you guys have seen, if you saw my social media around April time, it was a little bit tumultuous for me. It was not an easy breakup at all. Probably the most difficult period of my life, actually. But I'm over the hill now. No, I'm not over the hill. I'm over that. And everything's good. Yeah, I'm dating and it's fabulous. So yeah, 4 serious relationships in my life, and I'm 30 years old. For a bit of context. Do you believe in the one? That's like, I'm a romantic at heart, I really, really am, but the idea of the one, I actually don't believe in. I think there are so many people in the world, and this is just merely a statistical thing. There's so many people in the world that we could all have amazing lifetime partnerships with. We all hope to find the one, but I don't think there is one person for us, but there's many ones that we could all live very happily with, I think. So yeah, even though I'm romantic and that is a beautiful notion, I don't actually believe that there is just one person in the world for everyone, because how freaking hard would that be to find that person? Like, insane. How do you ask a boy you've not hooked up with if he is looking for something serious? I don't know. Is that not quite a strange question to ask someone you've not hooked up with yet? I mean, is that because, are you asking that question because you don't want to like hook up with them until you know if they're looking for something serious. To be honest, I think that's a really hard question to answer, because how will that person know if they want something serious with you unless they start dating you and you start hooking up? Like, dating's all about getting to know each other, and there's a really cool like notion that was on Sex and the City years ago, and I'll never forget it. Miranda said, men are like cabs, some have their light on, some have their light off, and if a man has his light on, then you're going to catch him and he's available. If a man has his light off, no matter how perfect you guys could be together, if he's not emotionally available at that time, it's not going to happen. This guy might be available, but you're just not the right guy for him, or he might not be available, but you guys could be so compatible. So love is a lot like, it's just a lot of luck really. The stars have to align, and it's a lot of chance. That's how I always see it. So I don't know, maybe just ask him out and go on a date. Maybe you'll find out that you don't actually want to be with him eventually. So I guess you don't really know if someone's into you or available for something serious until you've tried it out. Lol at this question. Has anyone got you tattooed onto their body? That's a funny question, and the person that wrote it to me knows the answer to that, and the answer is yes, somebody does have me tattooed on their body. Yeah, that was a crazy love affair. It all happened very quickly, and he was an interesting character. It didn't last very long, but he threw himself in maybe a little bit too deep, to be honest, and yeah, there ended up being a graphic drawing of me tattooed on his ribs, which he now has to live with forever. Sorry about that. How do you meet guys in London? Oh God. To be honest, apps. Dating apps are the one. I personally don't have time to go out and hang around bars with my friends hoping to meet the one. Like, it's just so easy being on an app and just scanning someone or screening people. I know it's not the most romantic thing in the world, but it honestly is. It makes things so much easier. It stops time wasters. Obviously, some fuckboys are going to get through the net, but I'm a big believer in dating apps. I think they're great. Most of my friends in relationships, including my sister, have found their life partners through dating apps, so I think it's a really good way to meet guys. And I also got another question about what dating apps do I use. I was on Bumble last year, but I've kind of actually stopped using that, and I now really like Hinge. I think the interface is so much sexier, you get to know people more, and I think the caliber of guys on there is so much better. They're much more serious, they're much more better looking, they all have, most of them have like better jobs, and I think the intelligence level is a lot higher. So that would be my experience. What would be your best low budget date idea? I'm gonna say a really cute picnic in the park, because it's summertime, so the weather's perfect. You can prep everything at home and just get a really nice chilled bottle of wine, or you can make like a flask of chilled cocktails or something. So yeah, a picnic would be a really great idea. And there's some really great parks in London too. Sometimes if you like look on Time Out, for example, there's like you can find like free exhibitions and free like outdoor activities to do. That can be cool. What are you looking for in your ideal partner? Okay, I actually have a list. This is gonna sound so psycho, but I actually have a list in my notes section of the ideal characteristics I would look for in a partner. Now, the reason I wrote this list is because after my last breakup, when I thought the guy I was with was amazing at the time of meeting him, he turned out to be not. I need to like hone in on specific traits that I need to look for. Like, for example, and I think this is actually a really mature notion, a man being kind is one of the most important things, I think, when you look for another guy. And I think when I was younger, being kind wasn't something I necessarily looked for in a guy. You know, it's not particularly sexy or like thrilling, but kindness is honestly one of the most important things. And I learned that as I got older, and I learned that after dating a few assholes. So, in my list of things I look for in a man, laughter. After kindness, obviously, but laughter. Somebody has to make me laugh. I think my sense of humour is quite niche, so if someone gets that, then we're laughing all the time. I went on a few dates with a guy. We laughed to the point of like buckling my knees and tears rolling down my face in the middle of the like venue we were at. It was so much fun, and it really did just like remind me how important laughter is, and how if you can make each other laugh, then you'll be doing that till the day you die. Like, I think that's so important. Also, I would always look for best friend material in my boyfriend. My mum always told me that you'll fall in and out of love with your life partner over and over as the years go by, but if you can remain their best friend and love them as a best friend, then like that's what's going to keep you together. Someone who is my biggest cheerleader, and this is so important to me after my last relationship where I really felt that I'd had zero support from the guy that I was dating. Someone that really respects what you do, lifts you up, you know, when you come home and you're proud of something and you've accomplished something, then they're gonna like applaud you, you know, genuinely from the heart. So somebody who's like my really big cheerleader. Also, my mum always said, she said, I always want my daughters to be with men that absolutely adore them, because my dad adores my mum, and he just like, he thinks she's amazing. And so if your partner adores you, then that can only be a good thing. So that's all like niche things that I like. Obviously, I like the guy to be intelligent, have something ambitious about him, you know, he's a go-getter like me. Obviously sexy is great, 6'3", dark, light eyes, amazing cheekbones, always a winner. And that kind of also covers the question, what sort of type are you drawn to? I know from experience I will never date another Aries again, because I am Aries, and I just think... Someone's asked me, how can I get a boyfriend? I'm 16. I didn't have a boyfriend until I was 17. Oh, gosh, I mean, I'm trying to think back to when I was 16, like the pressure to like have a boyfriend. To be honest, I couldn't really think of anything worse. Like now, with hindsight, I want to concentrate on my friends when I'm 16, like getting an education, as lame as that sounds, but that was what's so important. You look back at the relationships you had with boys when you're 16, 15, it's like they don't mean anything. It's all just like trial and error, like blindly feeling you, like it's all just like, it's basically like playground relationships. And I don't want to put anyone down who's watching this who's 16 and, you know, feels like they're madly in love with their partner. I'm just gonna say, I reckon you've got all the better things to come ahead of you. So, you know, it's all fun and games when you're young, but like, don't wish for a boyfriend when you're 16. You're still a child, and those years go by so quickly. Really just try and embrace them for what they are, because you have your whole life to be an adult wishing you were still young. This is an interesting one. Do you think you can meet someone too early in life? My instant response would be yes. I do think you can meet someone too early in life. I think we are always growing as human beings, and if I think back to the woman or the girl I was earlier on in my life and the partners I was with, I'm just not that person anymore. You know, being 30 years old now, who knows if I'm going to meet the person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life in the next year or so. Part of me wishes that it wouldn't really come about for the next 2 years, so I have even more chance of growing a little bit more. But then on the flip side of that, you can say that we're changing for the rest of our lives. So even people that get together when they're 25, they're not going to be the same person when they're 45. But if you get with your partner when you're 35, you're not going to be the same when you're 55. So really, I guess it doesn't matter. I feel like you can meet someone when you're too early, because you're still doing a lot of growth and maturing in your 20s and your teens. So you've got probably more of a chance staying with that person if you meet them later on in life. But saying that, if it's right for you and they are your soulmate and you respect each other enough, then I think anything can work out. Have you ever been heartbroken? If yes, when and how often? Yes, I've been heartbroken. My last relationship was really awful. The ending was really hard. I was definitely heartbroken then. But that wasn't the first time I was heartbroken. Hopefully it's the last, but it might not be. Like, many people go through many heartbreaks in their lives, and I do honestly believe that you get stronger with every single one, and you always learn a little bit more of a lesson. I would never ever regret going through heartbreak. I think honestly it makes you a better, and like I said, stronger person. It makes you make better choices moving on. Out of the 4 relationships I've had, I was only heartbroken twice, but I've been heartbroken even when I wasn't in a relationship, and you know, there once was a love that wasn't reciprocated, and that's always really tough. The good thing is that time heals everything. Do you ever struggle with thinking you're punching with a guy? Oh my gosh, I can imagine if I thought I was punching with a guy, then, and for those of you that don't know that term, it's like if I ever thought I wasn't good enough for a guy, that would make me feel super insecure. I've never gone out with anyone that I thought was better than me. Having self-worth is really important. I don't think that's a very healthy notion to have, like thinking that someone's better than you in general. So probably avoid dating anyone I thought was better than me, but then I'd probably have to examine myself and wonder why I thought someone was better than me. I tend to go for someone that I feel is my equal. How do you meet men after the age of 30? God, you make it sound so old. What old? 30's young, man. I thought before I turned 30 that 30 was super old, but it's actually not at all. I feel more empowered and more of value and I have more self-worth as a 30-year-old than I ever did in my 20s, honestly. Any man should be lucky to have a 30-year-old plus woman in their life. They're much more intelligent, our sex drives are through the roof, we know what we want, we're not afraid to ask for it, we're usually more successful and in better periods of our life. 30 plus is empowering. So don't ever think that it is super hard to meet guys after you're 30. If anything, it should be easier because you know exactly what you want, so you're not going to be wasting your time. But saying that, on a more practical level, how do you meet guys? I can only speak from my experience, which has been on dating apps for the whole 4 months I've been 30. How do you know if he is the one? How do you know?
Tarot cards.
Tarot cards. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I don't know. How do you know he's the one? I mean, I would say if you are thinking about starting a family with him, or you could see yourself marrying the guy, and probably a series of events and feelings that all accumulate, and then you just kind of know. I get a sense from people very early on if it's someone that I could have a relationship with and potentially have a partnership with moving forward. But I think a few important things to always remember are he respects you, you feel valued, he adores you, you're friends as well as lovers, and yeah, you can see a future with him. If you wouldn't mind squeezing out his offspring from your vagina, then that's probably a big hint as well. Okay, I've had this question a few times, you nosy buggers. Who am I dating? Well, I'm not actually gonna tell you who I'm dating because that would be an infringement on their privacy, I suppose. I am dating someone now, and it's been over a month. We're into month 2 now, and it's going really well, and I really like them. But I have, doing what I do and being on social media and YouTube and all of that sort of thing, I have been questioning the point as to whether or not he becomes part of this. We're not boyfriend girlfriend yet. I don't know whether or not this relationship is something I'm going to share with my YouTube and Instagram audience, just because last time I did do that, it didn't end very well, and I got a load of questions like, what's happening with you guys? And although I did share sort of like some top line details of what I went through, it wasn't nice, you know, having to sort of like 1 minute he was there, the next minute he wasn't. Also, the guy I was dating last time, I feel like he quite liked, not quite liked, but like was quite into like being on my channels and stuff, and it's just made me a little bit more wary this time round. I can talk about it obviously, but whether or not they want to be a part of it, that's up to them, and it's quite early on for our relationship at the moment, so I'm not really sure how that's gonna go. What do you think about fooling around with friends? Ooh, interesting. And this kind of goes on to another question about if I've ever had emotions, feelings, or hookups with women. I have actually hooked up with a friend. And she's one of my best friends. We're still best friends. We actually have a podcast together now. My friend Emily, we met at uni, and she's actually been in a female relationship before. You know what university's like, everyone's just like experimenting and they're always drunk all the time. Anyway, we used to hook up all the time when we went out drinking and dancing, and then that was just that, and then we ended up being really good friends, and we've been best friends ever since. So that's my only experience as fooling around with a friend. Ex is still texting and wants to hang out. What do you do as a strong lady? Yeah, I've been there. That's always really hard because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but if you've moved on, there's a reason you've moved on. I think always just be really nice. I think never ever lead anyone on, especially if they've got feelings for you still. Obviously you need to do what's right for you, always, what makes you feel safe and what you want. In the nicest possible way, shut that shit down. You know, I'd say something like, you know, it's really great to hear from you. I really hope you're doing well. Things are great with me, but I don't think it's a good idea we hang out. What happened, and I'm like more comfortable leaving that in the past where it is. Wish you all the best. I mean, that sounded really formal, but I think if someone's trying to like chase your tail and you're not into it, then, you know, it's best to be firm but fair. But always be nice. I know a lot of the time that men like mistake niceness for like an invitation to be more like assertive and like trying to get in there a lot of the time, which really fucking pisses me off. People need to know about boundaries. I'm good at getting sex from Tinder, but how do I convert that into a date? That's a really good question. Like most women, I like sex too. But if I want someone to take me seriously, I always try and get to know them on a personal level before going to the bedroom. I mean, there's been instances where, like, for me, relationships have developed even though we might have had sex quite early on in meeting. But I think the general consensus is if you want to have longevity with a guy you've met, then it's best not to rush into the sexual side of the relationship, but like build on the more like face-to-face relationship, getting to know each other. Also, I think sex is so much sexier when you know the person a little bit more, like what makes them tick and stimulates them intellectually rather than just physically. How did you get back into the dating game after your horrible breakout, and did turning 30 freak you out? To be completely honest, I'm gonna keep this really short and sweet because I don't like dwelling on it too much. I downloaded all the apps the day I broke up with my boyfriend and I threw myself into it. Now, that was against a lot of advice from my family and my friends who cared for me. They were like, Emily, it's too soon, you need to be on your own, you need to reflect. Honestly, for me, that wasn't the right advice. I needed to get out there, throw myself into it, date these men, like just even to pass the time. Like not that it was any sort of sense of validation I needed. I just wanted to like be busy, you know? And like when you work for yourself and you see your friends and then suddenly you have this gap where your relationship no longer is, like there's absolutely nothing wrong with throwing yourself back out there and just dating guys. As long as you're staying safe and you know exactly what you want, then why the hell not? So yeah, I literally just threw myself into dating like that. No regrets. There's so many more questions, guys, but I've talked for absolutely ages and I feel like it's information overload. But if you do have any more questions, or I didn't answer your question, maybe leave it in the comment box below and I'll see what I can do. I can try and get back to them when I've got some time. I hope you enjoyed this. This is like the first official Ask Emily on my YouTube channel. Also, give me a few ideas of future episodes down below in the comment section. That would be great if you want to hear me talk about different subjects, and then I can post out a notification on my Instagram and you guys can send all the questions in to me. Yeah, so I hope that was useful and I gave you some good advice. I'd love to hear from you, so leave your comments below and don't forget to like the video if you did like it, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you back here on my Ask Emily episodes really, really soon. Bye for now.